Hey, we're back again, episode 4, David Reid Homes TV, and we've decided to stay in the South Island again. This time we're in what I think is, almost the jewel in the crown of New Zealand at the moment. It's the fantastic Wanaka, and I'd like to introduce you to Chris Leith, our franchisee and owner of our business down there. Hey, Chris, how's it going, mate?
Not bad, and yourself?
Yeah, look, I can't complain, eh? More sun where I am, which is good. So yeah, just today we're going to look at a house that you and your team built. We're going to look at a couple of places actually, but first we're going to start with the place that you and your team built out in the country. It's actually on a station. Looks like a fantastic property built in 2015. 386 square meters. That is a big house. I live in a 300 square meter house. Another 100 is a very big house. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a study, and 2-car garaging. So yeah, it's certainly a big place. But you've done it justice there. Just on looking at that image there. Just firstly, it's built on a station, and Wanaka's. Your area is quite a big area. Just firstly, like if I'm not in central Wanaka or in the town of it itself, are you guys happy to work within these stations or in smaller towns in central?
Yeah, 100%. We travel anywhere basically. We have to, and doing the station houses and whatnot like this, it's a wee bit trickier getting there. Just logistically getting deliveries and stuff like that.
Sure.
But we'll work anywhere. We've got a fairly big area that we cover from Rainfurley down to Alex and over to the west coast. So we cover a fairly big area.
Yeah, that's great. So it doesn't really matter where you are in your area. You're happy to work with people and make things happen basically.
Yeah, exactly. We try to use the local subbies where we can. So if we are out of town, we'll try and get the local sub trades from the area.
Yeah.
It just helps sort of spread the love. And
sure.
But also if there's any issues down the track, like a leak in a plumber, for plumbing or something like that, the plumber's right there on hand. So we try to do that as much as possible where we can.
That's great.
But yeah, mainly use a normal trusted sub trades, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure. So just on this house, just a few images up there now. Certainly looks like I'm assuming it's a sheep station based on the number of sheep.
Yeah, sheep and beef. Yeah,
sheep and beef.
No, there's 2,500 hectares.
Whoa, big property.
So she's a pretty big place. An actual fact, little story that goes with it. My father, who's a farmer, actually managed that property when it was in a different entity, probably around about 25 years ago.
Amazing.
And we almost lived on it, so I had a fairly good feeling for the property.
Nice affinity there for sure. Yeah.
No,
it certainly looks like a beautiful spot. Just onto the house itself. We've got an image there of the. It's quite. Look, from what I can see, it's really open plan and open up. Lots of light coming in through those windows. That's the kitchen there, but the interior, like I see, there's a barn door. Is that quite a popular thing that you guys are seeing at the moment?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We've got barn door on this one. This is a timber one.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one in our show home as well. It seems to be that we're using them more and more, more as of a feature.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Quite often they're not even closed, if you know what I mean. They're just sitting there, but they've got the ability of closing them. And that's one of the big things that we've put quite a few of those in lately. It seems to be a trend.
Yeah, sure. And the open plan thing is obviously, carries through to a lot of properties these days, from being able to walk straight for the kitchen into the living area. And is that something that's pretty standard?
Yeah, I think so. Most people are having that open plan living is what we design now. Quite often this one here's got it as well. This has got more of a formal lounge, that one.
Sure.
Around a big fireplace. So it was quite a cool open fireplace sort of thing. So what you'd sort of expect on a station home, if you know what I mean. But most of our houses, or a lot of them, people are putting in a separate room. So whether that be a lounge or a TV room or something similar, just so they can potentially close the door, get away from the kids. You know what it's like, rugby's on.
Yeah.
Don't want to be disturbed, sort of thing.
No. I mean, like that's a great image, that one we've got up on the screen now. Fantastic living space. Just on that kitchen, for me, that's a great looking kitchen. And first thing that stuck out for me in that kitchen is those lights that are hanging down. That's quite a unique feature. Is that something the client has come to you about, or is it something that you've worked with them on, to find and, we quite like these lights, or is a lot of that led by the client in the initial phase? Or obviously you give advice, but how does that sort of thing work? If I want those lights, can I have them? Or obviously I listen to my builder.
Yeah.
Do your clients come with those sorts of things right up front?
Yeah, they're either up front or it's sort of quite often it's a work in progress.
Sure.
So what we sort of do is we've got the interior designers that come along and they'll start putting things together at the start of the job.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing there, we give them a heads up before the sparkies are there.
Uh-huh.
And then we obviously have you walk through with the sparky just to make sure that we've got everything right. And at that point is sort of when we get decision making happening.
Yeah.
And the clients, they'll have an indication, and I quite often, I've got an opinion. Quite often people like an opinion just to bounce off, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
And then between us and with the interior designer that we use as well, and the client, basically they get what they want. And it's just dependent on, there's a huge range of sort of light fittings to pick from. And it just depends on the style of the home. So those particular lights there, I mean, you can tell they just go really well with that sort of rustic.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it.
Station farmhouse sort of thing.
Just quickly on the interior designer, is that someone who's involved in all your projects?
Yeah, we have. We've got a couple here, but we tend to use one more than depending on. We try to match the interior designer up with the client as well.
Okay.
So we've always got a couple that we use, but whoever it is, we get them involved right at the early stage, so even right at the concept stage, depending on the style of the home, because a lot of people, I think, you need something to bounce ideas off. So we'll do a lot of the concept work and whatnot ourselves, but if we can get them in front of, well, then it gives them some direction, because there's so many choices out there, and people just want to be directed and guided, and just basically vindicate their ideas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. Just like, you're working out on a station, and you've already touched on the fact that, travel's a big thing, and, how do you manage to, look, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, because virtually Central is renowned for having people living in the middle of nowhere, how do you sort of like run the project with those people, from, obviously you've got to have some face-to-face, I'm assuming, of course you do, but can you manage some of it, over the phone, video calls, work through some stuff so I don't have to travel as much? As you got the good process in place around those types of things?
Yeah, we do. I mean, nowadays modern technologies is allowing us to do this.
Yeah, of course.
So, quite often we're doing a lot of this. We've done a lot of remote builds from people from overseas as well.
Okay.
And they might only come and visit the site once.
Wow.
But we've got some good systems within the group that we use. A system called Builder Trend, so we're constantly putting photos up and whatnot. So I'll go out onto site and take photos, or ask one of the guys on site to take photos, and then they can see exactly what's happening and as it's working. As far as the travel thing, I think people like to get in front. We like to be, society is that we're, touchy-feely sort of typey thing. And so we try to encourage the clients to get out on site, and we make those decisions. But, it might only be sometimes, one visit, or it might be they're there weekly. When it's further distances for me, I try to sort of manage it a little bit better so that we're, not racking up the fuel bill.
Yeah, of course.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, interesting that you mentioned absentee owners, and obviously, Wanaka's a hotspot for people from not only New Zealand but from all around the globe. You building for people from, I don't know, from Auckland, Christchurch, is that quite common where your customers come from?
Yeah, it is. It's changing now. A lot of people are deciding to have a playground like this, sort of thing.
People.
So that's what we've decided, and ourselves included. And with the technology, a lot of people can work from home now. And I mean, this COVID thing's shown a lot of people that it's possible.
Yeah.
So we deal with a lot of Aucklanders, a lot of people from around New Zealand who are shifting here for the lifestyle.
Sure.
And you've got your walking tracks and skiing and lakes and everything like that everybody's familiar with.
Yeah.
And then we're dealing currently with an Australian client. We've dealt with an Australian client that was the one that only visited once.
That's amazing.
And built his batch as such for him. And So yeah, we've dealt with people from America and things like that. So it's not hard to deal with it. The key is just for people to trust, So if they trust me and our team, well then that's the key.
Obviously, and dispel a bit of trust up front, and which is good. Makes people feel confident about what's going to happen with their batch or their house they're potentially going to live in, which is great. Look, we'll quickly touch on your show home. I have fortunately been to this show home, visited you there. Amazing house, next level, and it won David Reid Homes Show Home of the Year. From my opinion, totally justified. A fantastic house, great location. Just fantastic. Just perhaps give us some key features of this house and why a lot of people think it's a special home, Chris.
Well, I guess when we designed it, we've actually designed it for Tracy and myself and the kids and whatnot. So we've designed it around our needs, and but also tried to portray what we think other people would want in a home as well. There's quite a few features. It was a tricky little house to build, actually, and quite a few features. Even just looking at that picture there, the spouting is custom made spouting, which no one would know bar me, if you know what I mean. But it's fairly tight site, fairly compact area. So we're pretty much pushing all the boundaries that we can to get it to fit in. It's 240 square meters. Yeah. It's only 3 bedrooms, but given that our kids are all growing up, we wanted to be able to have the ability for them to come back and stay. But it's also good to see them go, if you know what I mean. So it's been designed.
Don't make it too big.
yeah. Designed with Tracy and myself in mind. It's the one of the parts in there is the kitchen that we keep in constant.
Yeah, we got the kitchen there. I think we got a picture of the kitchen.
It's one of the things that we've probably been a lot of comments on, right down to it's a rustic tile that's in the behind as a splashback.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We tried to design the kitchen so as that it would look like it was hovering or floating.
Yeah.
And we've used some sort of materials. So going back to the interior designer, when we had our first site meeting, and through the front door as you walk through, I said I envisaged having a Japanese maple in the front as you walk through, and he picked up on that there at that one thing that I'd said, and so basically the whole home ended up being sort of Japanese themed if you wanted to go toward the theming sort of thing. And so we've got a lot of rustic materials and timber and stuff like that, but we tried to do something that was different. I don't go visiting a lot of show homes, but a lot of the show homes are the same, and we tried to express that you can do something different and it doesn't cost a lot more. So there's a lot of skylights in there. They're big, letting a lot of light in. We've got the barn door. We've got a step down lounge, so that means that it feels nice and comfortable in there at night. It's quite a cool wee home, actually.
Yeah, that's certainly a great house. Just it's in Koromiko Park. It's a area that's taken off in Wanaka from what I could see when I was. Much room left there? You're not going to still get a section through you guys there, or other places opening up, or?
Yeah, it's Wanaka's constantly evolving, so there's constantly sections coming on the market. The better ones are snapped up pretty quickly. But in Koromiko there, the initial stages are gone, but there are still empty sections there, but there's new stages gone up around them. So there's Koromiko Heights and whatnot. So
still
there's definitely availability of sections. Yeah.
Just Wanaka itself, what a place, pretty awesome. I can go skiing, I can go mountain biking, do whatever I want really, and there's so much going on. Just for you, a couple of things that, that I don't know, stand out for you, a couple of activities. I can see your ute in the background there. Are they ski racks on the top of the ute?
Yeah, there's ski and mountain bike racks on the top of that, and there's a boat parked behind it. So we're quite sort of, I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
And I love mountain biking. And just in behind me, there's the track that goes down the Clutha River here.
Awesome.
And so we do a lot of mountain biking, a lot of boating, and then a lot of snow skiing. Hopefully this year we get another crack at it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's an amazing place. Like I just actually mentioned to Tracy last night, we were looking and sitting outside and looking at the sunset and having a vino, and I just said we're lucky to be here. It is an amazing place. I know there's other places in the world, and I've been to a lot of places in New Zealand which I consider to be equally as amazing. But
of course,
we've pretty much got it all here. If you can think of it, Wanaka's got it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, there's probably a lot of New Zealanders. I know myself. I'm feeling pretty fortunate to be in New Zealand at the moment, given what's going on out there. I'm sure Wanaka's a fantastic place to be. I was going to touch on one more thing. Bit of a rugby, man. I noticed you sponsored the Ranfurly Shield game that came to Wanaka last year. You like your rugby? Are you missing your rugby?
Very much so at the moment. So,
tell me about it.
That was our weekly go-to, that we'd go and watch a game of footy.
Yeah.
So, definitely. I played rugby all my life. And now I'm coaching the local girls high school up here as well for the last 3 or 4 years, and the Targa country team as well, girls of Targa country. So when the opportunity came up to sponsor it, we sort of thought, well, it fitted with me. It was the first time that it had been out of Dunedin, the Shield Challenge, and first time I'd ever been to Wanaka. So we jumped on board, and in actual fact, from that, we've now sponsored Otago themselves for this year as well, which with the spin-offs could be quite a good thing. By the sound of things, hopefully we'll get the Mitre 10 Cup going, and then the All Blacks will hopefully be back into the old school days.
Yeah,
it could be quite interesting.
Yeah, imagine that. That's going to be a fantastic. If they pull it off, that'll be rugby like it used to be when we were kids.
Back in the old days.
Yeah, when the All Blacks ran out for Wellington and Otago, etc. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Just quickly touch on one more thing. You mentioned going to the rugby. Like, how far's Dunedin from Wanaka? Can I get to? I suppose international airport. You're going to go to Queenstown, aren't you? But how far's Dunedin? Can I get there fairly quickly?
It's about 3-hour drive, so it's a bit of a haul. So we generally stay down there the night when we go down, and our daughter's down there in varsity, so it gives us an excuse to go and see her as well as go and see the footy. And but it is a bit of a haul down to Dunners, but it's pretty good open roads, if you know what I mean. So it breaks up the monotony.
And certainly a great city to get to. And Queenstown, how far is Queenstown from Wanaka? Just out of interest.
Over the hill, 40 minutes over the hill. Yep. So it's we pop over there to go shopping. So it's not a big thing. In the winter, you just got to check the weather for the road conditions. But Crown Range. But other than that, no, it's just over the hill. So we go there to do shopping or to have a bit of a play.
Yeah, brilliant.
Queenstown's
Look, thanks for your time, Chris. Anything else? Obviously it's a bit of a crazy time at the moment for I'm sure you, for pretty much everyone else. I'm sure you're still working. Everyone's still working, trying to make ends meet, keep their businesses rolling. If I'm interested in looking at stuff, I'm assuming I can still contact you guys, make phone calls. You're happy to take calls, perhaps do Zoom stuff or whatever it might be.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's really changed for us. It's effectively the way I've described it as having a holiday in the 4-week holiday in the middle of the year. So we've still been working, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just everything was parked and put on hold. So luckily, all our jobs, we got them, so there was no critical areas that this is affected. Mm-hmm. Our team's still the same size. We're still confident moving forward. There's only the 3 permanent, Tracy, myself, and Andrew in the office, and then we've got 1 part-time fellow Morris that gives me a hand. So we're just going to remain the same. We're sort of a smaller unit, and we'll just keep on ticking on. And so if anybody wants to, it's a brilliant time to actually go looking for sections and houses and whatnot down here at the moment. As soon as we can come out of this, all they have to do is contact me, and I can go around and have a look and at sites. And quite often people will be looking on Trade Me and whatnot at sites, and not too sure on whether it's a good building spot or just want some advice. That's what I'm here for. So I love going out and having a look at the sections and just seeing what was available and what they can and can't do on it.
Hey, look, thanks for your time, Chris. It's been informative for me, and look after yourself and enjoy. Hopefully you get to put some turns in this year. I'm sure you will. Hopefully they'll open up. I'll cross them for you. And
get the footy back on TV so we can
bit of rugby would be good, even if there's no crowd. That'll make me happy as well. Look, as I said, mate, look after yourself, look after your family, and in touch. Take care. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.